Hear our hearts begin to blow, descending through the snow, as we leave nothing left but bones for crows. Heralds of the squall, watch your heroes fall. You will know our power, one and all. We're the lords of the ice, never to be crossed. Children of thrill, fate of the lost giants of frost. Marching through the street, our boots will crunch the meat, grind you into meat underneath our feet. Shivering our wake, and the ground begins to shake. The breaking of your hope will seal your fate. We're the lords of the ice, never to be crossed. Children of thrill, fate of the lost giants of frost. We'll make ourselves a stew. The main ingredient is you. We're the lords of the ice, never to be crossed. Children of thrill, fate of the lost. We're the lords of the ice, never to be crossed. Children of thrill, fate of the lost giants of frost.
So good. Oh, hi everyone. I wasn't just eating leftover pumpkin pie. Not at all. You didn't see that? That never happened. Anyway, welcome to Idle Champions. Well, Gaarawarr's Guide to Everything in Idle Champions. I'm Gaarawarr, and I'm hungry. Oh, audio's just in the left side. Hold on. Hold on, I know how to fix that. Maybe. Maybe. That should be better. That should be better. It's that wonderful post-Thanksgiving holiday, everyone. We all know and love. It's Chromatic Friday, where we celebrate dragons of all colors. Here on GG2E. It's perfect timing because CNE released a bunch of dragon-themed variants this week. 11 of them. That's a lot of variants. That's a lot of variants. So I've been working on them. I think we're doing the patron version right now. I think this is Patron's Ariel for a dragon against us. So far they haven't been too difficult. But, you know, we'll see what happens. Yes, there are a couple that have been problematic. I did submit a ticket about those and was told that in an upcoming patch they'll be fixed. If that patch hasn't come through yet, it may have. Who knows? Who knows? So we're going to talk about, on this Chromatic Friday, we're going to talk about the Autumn Sale, the Trailblazer Weekend, the upcoming finale for Idle Champions Presents, the Trials of Mount Tiamat, and of course, time gates. It's time gate weekend, everybody. Get your time gate on. Martin's already got the first question in here from him. Cronder Solis for free time gate. I mean, do you want another DPS or do you want a tank support? That's really what it comes down to. Kron ends up being really good as long as you pump lots of, like, get him, really nice items and really nice item levels. But then he also needs, people to support him. Solis just goes out there and, takes a beating for the team. She makes an appearance in the upcoming finale. Let's see if you've been watching. We are in week 7. It's going to be on Monday. Ooh, I need to claim my reward. Hey, look, it's a potion of polish. I didn't think that was going to happen. And now Scroll of Assault versus Scroll of Wealth. Look, folks, I mean, it's going to end up over here. No one cares about Gold Find and Trials of Mount Tiamat. You just care about Assault Party damage. Yeah, so a couple more of these votes to go. And we'll get to watch the finale on Monday. This coming Monday. Both teams will come together to face off against Tiamat herself, apparently. One of the teams has 3 people at like 5 health. So I'm not sure how this is going to go. If you ever wanted to watch a 12-person party, it's 12, isn't it? Or is it 5? A 10-person party TPK against Tiamat. This is probably going to be it. This is your best chance. Yeah. Trailblazer Weekend. Apparently only 4 champions this time. You've got Krull, Jarlaxle, Tyrell, and Torragar. Oh, wait, there's another one. Caddy Breeze hiding. Really, guys? Can't we put him in a different order? It's like, nope. Krull's like, nope, it's just me. There's no Caddy Bree here. Sure. Each one, this is a pain and pilfer. Jeez. Get your push on this weekend, folks, if you've got Krull. Caddy Bree, damage of Caddy Bree. This is a Caddy Bree DPS weekend. That's why she's hiding behind Krull. She doesn't work with Krull. Caddy Bree is not a DPS that works with Krull, folks. Don't do it. Neither is Jarlaxle, but you got his Master Piracy and Master Disguise 200%. Tyrell Moonbeam 200%. Torragar damage 400%. A double DPS weekend? One of these should have been like an all champs damage, guys. Come on. But the sweetener, if you buy the chests, Tiamat's Ring. One with some markings of his zealot ability. Assuming, like, is it an earring? Is it a nose ring? We don't know. It's Tiamat's Ring. What's the chest look like? Hey, here's what it looks like in your inventory. Boom, and here's what it looks like getting opened, because I already got my newsletter. If you want to get free chests every weekend, folks, just go to the menu in game, click on the newsletter, sign up. Make sure your email from them doesn't get caught in the spam folder. Yeah, every week on Friday. They go out in the order that you signed up for the newsletter. So if you signed up recently, it's going to take a little bit longer. Like I said, I already got mine, but at some point this afternoon and or evening, you should get yours too. And then an autumn sale. There's a lot more stuff on sale than what shows up here for me but I've already bought those things. So anywhere from like 40 to 90% off. I think some of the starter packs are 90% off, like the Nayeli one, which traditionally everyone's like, why is Nayeli's starter pack $30 when the others are $10? Well, go get yourself a Nayeli starter pack for like $5 this weekend, folks. Yeah, and I think it still comes with multiple like shinies because it's based off the base price, so that's a heck of a deal. So yeah, this red is just new. Red's the new familiar. The only 2 that I haven't bought yet are these. And of course, you know, all-star pack. Because the only thing I really need here is the skin. I just want this skin. I already have all these champions. I mean, sure, they're shinies, but I think most of them are probably gilded. I don't know. It makes it hard for veterans to buy things like that. Those packs are really built for brand new players. Brand new players. So yeah, if you have questions, toss them in the chat. We have Sasha and Martin in the mod pod today, and they will be grabbing your questions from chat. No, I am not the creepy skin collector. Mars is the one that collects skins. Mars is the one that collects skins. Every time I'm like, What would be the phrase for this game? It buys the skin on sale, or it gets the wild offer again. We're just gonna go with that and move on. Famine Dragon with a question: have you tried the twins, Mehen, Whittle, and Birdsong? Keeping Mehen happy. I have not. I have not played with a lot of the combinations of things you can do with Whittle just yet. I have been using her a little bit, a whittle bit. I've been using her a whittle bit. But really, until they dropped these variants, I didn't really have anything that I really needed to push. I'd finished all the variants and all the patron variants that are doable by me with a formation. I think it's just basically all the variants that are doable with a formation right now in the game I have completed. But then they added 11, and now I need to get all those done for each of the patrons, so I'm working on it. She's not available in all of those, so outside of that, I've been doing some Briv gem farming, using automation, in-game automation, not out-of-game automation. It's been working pretty well. I want to try to get Whittle into that formation, but I don't know. Maybe I'll try that this weekend. Renwick, Farita or Birdsong for a free time gate? I prefer Farita. But if you want a little more flexibility, Birdsong is going to give you both a DPS and a support option. Fast attacker. So, you know, nice. Fairly flexible. Whereas Farita's just a DPS. Farita will only DPS, but she's a multi-attack DPS. Trentonator71, can't wait until the finale. Great watching. Will Krull be in a free time gate soon? I don't know. I don't know. We have no way of knowing what comes in a free time gate. Free time gates are 3 random champions. So, yeah, it's not a set list. It literally just, the game looks at who you already own and who you don't, and then rolls the dice on 3 that you don't. Well, rolls the dice. 1's guaranteed to be something you don't have. 1's guaranteed to be a year 1, 1's guaranteed to be a year 2, and then the other one could be a year 3 or 4 or 5 now, I guess. But you're guaranteed to get at least 1 you don't own. But that's it. You're not guaranteed to get any specific champion. So if you want Krull will be arriving in an event very soon. However, it is probably a good idea to point out that there is no event next week. They're doing back-to-back content weeks. So the event will arrive on December 8th. We were expecting it on the 1st, but it's going to be on the 8th. So there's another content drop next Wednesday, which means we also get back-to-back free time gate weekends. Which, you know, that doesn't suck. Vampire 337, time gate, Melf, Xander, or Korth? Melf. Mousepad guy, Ayla, Ishi, or Krita? Ayla. Ayla's a fantastic tank. High explosives. Korth, Xander, or Baloth? You already have Baloth, though. Korth. Yeah. Korth's probably more useful generally than Xander. Kudak, Firefist. Already have Evelyn and Walnut, and get Krull next event. Choose Krull for the extra chests, I guess? Yeah. Yeah, there's no reason not to. If they're going to give you Krull for free and you already have the other 2, just pick them up. You could get lucky, and the variant that you get in the time gate could be the 5,000 token variant. Actually, for the older ones, it's less, but still, it could be the expensive variant, and you get to save those tokens and put them towards something else. Valdemar Night Road. Who is that? Moose. I let loose a moose. I let loose a moose. That's Tyrrell. That's Tyrrell. That's, what do they call it? I want to say it's Icewind Dale Tyrrell, but I don't know if that's what they actually called it. Yeah, they did. It's Icewind Dale Tyrrell. So when they announced that Icewind Dale was going to be the next campaign, like a year and a half ago, this was a giveaway skin, so... Yeah, I think. I don't know. It came out around then. I just remember getting it because of course. Because of course. And then Celestial Tyrrell is the one that turns into a unicorn. It's the one that turns into a unicorn. Graydon. Once you're in the E30s in terms of favor, what is the principal way to increase your favor? Keep pushing? I mean, I guess that depends. I mean, you have to... If that's as far as you can go and as much as you can get, then you need to get power from. Need to get more power from other places. You need to get more patron perks. You need to get, you need to get your Modron flow up. You need to start getting legendaries from trials, right? It's just power. Power is going to get you more favor. I mean, my pushes tend to leave me with E40s in favor, so. And that's not even, I mean, that's probably low for people who've been playing the game for over 4 years now. So you can get there. It's just you got to find more power. You got to find more power. Because you can definitely just push further. You definitely can. It's just I AFK'd on an event and pushed to like 1135 with a pushing formation. So, you have to get things that are going to get you up and over 1,000. Level 1,000. And then you gotta Zaka farm it, right? Excalibur Storm, I have a free time get option to decide between Farita and Alindra. If you have a lot of the heroes of the plains already, so Briv, Freely, or Kira, Whittle, Penelope, forgetting someone, then you would choose Alindra to pair with them because she's got a buff that an ability that basically makes them stronger. Oh, Evelyn, that's the one I was missing. She's got an ability that makes them stronger. But if you don't, then she doesn't offer as much as she could. And maybe you just want to pick Farita as an optional DPS. That's good for when you can't use Ashara. I use Farita a lot when I can't use Ashara. Because I get another multi-attacker, and multi-attacks are nice for armor and hit-based stuff. Graydon again, unlock Neris or chess for Beetle and Grim or chess for Strick. Unlock Neris, yeah. What do you do with her? You just throw her in your formation. She doesn't require any, she doesn't have any like placement restrictions in the formation other than she's not a tank. So you can put her wherever you want. And she's going to buff your primary DPS. Whoever's doing the most damage gets her buffs, basically. They get her spiritual weapon. Kojak 76, Birdsong Cathris, or level up my Omen's gear. I would pick one of the first two. I mean, I like Cathris a lot, but not everybody likes Cathris. They're both as supports. Birdsong can also be a DPS, so it just kind of depends on where you feel like you might need another option. Cathris is slot 1, Birdsong's somewhere else. Is it 9? Yes, slot 9. So, either one. That's how you're making your decision, right? Like, do you want a DPS / support option in slot 9? Birdsong. Do you want another option for support in slot 1? Cathris. Neither of them really, in my opinion, stand out a whole lot. Honda Hero, Farita for sure over Deacon and Penelope since you have them already. Yes. How to use Farita. So Farita is going to be a DPS that either wants to be directly adjacent to your tank or tanks because of how her Hellish Rebuke works. She can adapt her own Hellish Rebuke to work off things that are anybody next to her. She also has a specialization that will extend that 2 slots. So there are some fun situations where you can actually make her Hellish Rebuke cover the whole party. And then when you get those bosses that like to AoE DPS you, Valindra, the tree. They hurt themselves for every person they hit with Farita's damage. So yeah, so I mean that's it. That's really all you have to keep in mind is just her placement. Everything else is straight up DPS stuff, and she's a multi-hit person. Let's see. What else we got? Kimu Mischief, is Wolfgar good for anything except variants? Azaka farming if you need a tank. He's got like 100% gold find or whatever bonus from the Companions of the Hall ability. Yeah, unfortunately, if you're not using him in a full Companions formation, he doesn't have one of his abilities is really based off being with the Companions, and when you have a lot of your support tied up in that, and then you're not using those champions, then it's just wasted. It's like trying to use Lizaps as a tank with someone who isn't short folk. You're not really getting a whole lot out of it. But again, it's an extra bonus gold when you're Zaka farming. So, but I don't know the last time I was like, oh, I have Wolfgar available, I'm going to use him to tank. Like, unless I had no other options. So, he's not in the greatest place. And they already kind of did a big revamp to the Companions of the Hall, so I don't know that they're going to go back and touch him again. Unfortunately, because they had too many... Wolfgar was a DPS support or something like that originally, if I remember right. And it was like they needed a tank and they didn't have one because they didn't want to make Benwin one. I mean, Brunar one for some reason. And yeah, lots of things changed. Cruciferous Kale, Beetle and Grim or Benwin? Beetle and Grim. Absolutely Beetle and Grim. I mean, I love playing with Benwin, but Beetle and Grim are just... I mean, you get two champions in one, and they're really solid. They're really solid for all kinds of uses. Serum Frost, Narak or Neris? Narak's going to help you out in a lot of kind of manipulative play areas, like the aforementioned Azaka farming, but also Orkira stacking, like these places where you're creating this really unique formation, and you're just trying to buff certain abilities really high, but you don't necessarily need anything else from them except for their ability buffing ability. Like, that's how Narak gets used. And he sees a lot of use in that regard. But he doesn't necessarily get put in pushing formations that often. Occasionally, in variants, especially if you need survivability, because he can boost health share out of tanks and give you lots of health. Whereas Neris is just a solid, straight-up support. Throw in anywhere that isn't the front line, and she's going to buff your primary DPS for you, and she does that job pretty well. Erebor, what's Zorbu's thing? He's a hateful little gnome who likes to commit genocide, and for some reason, he's considered good aligned. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Going to take me some grinding to get enough favor that I can actually use him in the time gate. Yeah, he needs favor. He's like, he's kind of upgrade dependent. I remember the last time I ran a new player account where I was trying to, before Ashara became the big new hotness, I was trying to figure out, like, at what point does Zorbu actually get better than Hitch? And I think I had to have enough favor to be able to upgrade Zorbu to like a level 120 or so, before he had enough damage to out-damage Hitch and be useful in the formation. And since he's slot 12, that means it's a lot of gold. So you got to have solid amounts of favor to start using Zorbu. You also have to farm up Zorbu. He needs a lot of kills. See the aforementioned genocide comment. You need like 100,000 kills minimum for each of his hated races to really get him to take off. So that's EO5 kills for each. Anything over that is just, gravy on your mashed potatoes. Yeah. So he needs a lot. He needs a lot to get him to take off and start doing lots of damage. But then he's a line-based AoE. And just, he works real well with Krull because he hits everything in a line. And Krull's like, hey, I put plagues on all these things. Why don't you hit? Oh, you hit all of them. That's fantastic. Yeah. So they were the power couple before the rise of Ashara. The Lurking Rider, is gilding Puent slot 1 gear worth spending money on his gold chests? In general, my advice in terms to a question regarding gilding Puent is going to be no. But let me go look. Oh, hey, I have it. I mean, it's a damage all champs item. It's a damage all champs item. So, if you have to use Puent for some reason, or you're choosing to use Puent, sure. I mean, it's the nice straight up general bonus. But in general, I don't know that, unless something's changed that I'm not aware of, which is entirely likely. There's like 90 champions in this game now, and they keep adding new ones, and every time they add one, that could change how any of the others work together. So it takes a while to get that information out to everyone. So who knows, maybe. But Treborix, what would be a good tactic? Slow down on campaigns and do the patrons first, or finish all campaigns and concentrate on patrons later? The tried and true response to this is ¿por qué no los dos? Why not both? Why not both? It doesn't have to be an either or. You can have a little column A and a little column B. I think early on, I think my guide on the Reddit is built around milestones, and those milestones are specifically evergreen champion unlocks, because those are very very easy to understand when you reach that milestone, and goals that you can easily kind of target and achieve. But along the way, it's like, yes, unlock these patrons and do a little bit of this and a little bit of that. And the big thing with patrons early on is you want to unlock them as soon as they unlock themselves based on your play. Unlock them and get enough influence and currency in them to buy at least your time gate piece every week. Because an extra time gate piece per patron is a big deal when you're new. It's a bigger deal when you're new than it is for me, right? So if you can start that time gate train rolling early, then you can get one of those every week from that patron. You got to put a little work into them each week, but it pays off, right? And then you can also later on, you'll want to get enough influence and currency to buy a Modron component chest from them each week. It's the only place you can get where you can purchase, with in-game currencies, time gate pieces, and Modron component chests. That's it. So once you're able to unlock those, you want to do those. Leave the rest. You don't need to buy tons of patron chests. You don't need to buy those potions. You don't even need to buy those one-off unlocks that they have in their shop. You can do that later on. Early on, it's really about focusing, getting enough influence for the time gate piece and the Modron component chest, and then pumping currency each week into those two things. And that's going to help you up the most. And, in between doing that, you go do regular campaigns, you do events, you do time gates, whatever. You fit in whatever else you can, but, it doesn't have to be, it's not really an either or. Eventually, you're going to finish all of the campaign stuff. Again, working your way kind of bit by bit through that. And then, the mid game is functionally doing all the patron stuff. The mid game being specifically like Mert and Vajra patron stuff, and in more of the end game being doing Strahd and Zerial stuff. Juxie Hagar, I took Barrowin for the time gate as Lucius's next event, I think. That's fine. Barrowin's more useful than Lucius anyway. Is Barrowin useful or just variant filler? I mean, both. I mean, this game is primarily doing variants. That's what this game is. Hold on. Let me go look in the patron thing. How many? 225. I've done 225 variants for Mert. So that means there's roughly 225 variants in the game. And what, a third of those are base, and then there's a number that's around a third of that are base adventures. So what's that, 70 something basic adventures in the game? It seems low. But then the bulk of the game is variants. There's over 200 variants per patron plus the initial variants. So there's over 1,000 variants in the game compared to, 100 or so base adventures. So yeah, this variant filler is, I mean, that's the vast majority of the game is variants. So now I get what you mean. What you mean is, are they only going to get used in an occasional variant? Maybe. Barrowin has both a heal, like buffs for your primary DPS, but they can also heal in their column and any tanks in front of them. And they can shield as well. So they offer heals and shields as well as buffs. So they're a nice multi-purpose tool. They could even technically, with the right formation, act as a tank in the front line, but they don't have tank buffs. They can get tanky in terms of their overwhelm point can go way up. They can pull in a lot of health, and they can heal and shield themselves, but they don't provide any buffs based off that. Elysium Atreides, in your opinion, which formation is the best bonus for being used together? I don't know what that means. Elysium Atreides. I'm going to need more context, like more detail to that question. In your head, that probably was very straightforward, but in my head, it's not. I don't understand where you're going there. So if you can clarify in chat, the mods will grab that and give it to me. And then I will come back to it. Graydon, wouldn't Eliwick gem spec be better for Zaka farming than Wolfgar? Yeah, technically. But that means you have to have Eliwick, and I can't assume that they have Eliwick. They could be brand new and just get a time gate for Wolfgar. And Eliwick can't tank. So again, talking about what do they offer? Well, if you need a tank for Azaka farming, they can stand in the front line and take a beating, right? Yeah, I can make assumptions about what they mean, but I'd like to hear from them what they mean. So if they post and clarify, then give me that. Zewang, Krond or Neris? Didn't we start this whole thing? No, Solis, okay. Neris is solid support. Krond is only a DPS, so what do you need? What do you need right now? Make your choice on that. J. McUnyielding, Sasaspia Warden or gear for Strix? Leaning towards Sasaspias. I think I want to gear up more folks before getting Warden. Warden is okay without gear because you can put him in, apply his debuff, and then his debuff lingers, so you can pull him out and use somebody else. And that can be really strong. That can be really strong. That can be the difference between passing a boss and not passing a boss. I like Sasaspia, but she is very niche. She works in very specific circumstances, whereas Warden can work just about everywhere. Nakoa, Ishii, or Talon? I'd probably go Talon. Talon sees a lot of play in a variety of different formations. Ishii's very... because she's a DPS, she doesn't get used as much. Onyx Squared, my only time gate choice was Stokey. I mean, you had everything else, I guess. Is there anything to be excited about with that champion? I mean, her song, from Bardic Inspiration. The Key of Rock is pretty solid. Reading a write-up, I can't quite tell. Well, I mean, she's a swap for Jarlaxle that can provide a gold find positionally, but also buff the party, right? Whereas Jarlaxle can't buff the party; he can only provide gold find. So having an option in that slot to have somebody else is great. It just depends on, like, you know, do you already have like Baloth? Well, Baloth's way better, right? But, you know, in places where you can't use those, you're still going to have an option where you're going to get a debuffer. She can debuff. She can provide gold find bonuses. Yeah, I mean, she's there. She works. But, you know, what do you need? I mean, if you already had everybody else, then grab those. Yeah. Grab her. Stokey, very first event champion and idle champion. So there's something. There's something to be excited about. You finally unlocked the very first bonus champion they ever added, like event champion they ever added to the game. She was year 1 High Harvest Tide. And I remember because back then I didn't understand how events worked, which is why I wrote a guide for the second one for everybody that I figured was like me and didn't understand how events worked. My gear that I got for her was garbage. And the only decent piece of gear I got was for her debuff. So she saw a lot of work in my teams. But my friend who had joined and started playing at the same time, he got her gold find item and was like, oh, like, she isn't that great of a debuffer, but man, she makes me so much gold. And I was so mad that he was getting so much favor than I was at the time. Look at me now, folks. I still don't have a lot of favor. Chalice, would you recommend unlocking Turiel or get gear for Strix or Shaka? Unlock Turiel, yeah. If you already have Strix and Shaka, then grab Turiel. Turiel's a good we call them an anti-tank in slot 1, which basically means they go in the front column, but they don't actually tank. They redirect enemies to other people in the front column. It only works in a multi-champion front line, though. You can't, like, go to Sword Coast and use Talon. Or Turiel, excuse me. But yeah, Turiel's great in Baldur's Gate, Descent into Avernus, because he doesn't like fiends. So, and that's almost all fiends. Real good synergy there. The Lurking Rider, my options were Cathris, Celice, or Deacon, whom I already have. I mean, Cathris or Celice. I've used Celice in some high-level patron variants because I had to. Didn't really have any other tanking options, but she got the job done. I've always enjoyed Cathris as a support. I just know a lot of people aren't super happy with Cathris because Cathris likes to take some of your money away. It's not that much, and he helps you push, so it's a good trade. But that's how he pays to summon Grave of Men. He's the demon that comes out and buffs one of your party members. Zelspell, to unlock the first patron, they require 2,000 loot levels. How does one up their loot level? Yeah, that's a great question. I'd love for the... Oh, wait. I know the answer to this. They need to change. One of these days. Please, Codename Entertainment. Please. Change it to say item levels so so new players understand what you're talking about, please. That'd be great. Loot levels are item levels. So they're totaling up the levels that show up here on your items at the top. Let's say, level 265. They're basically saying you need to have taken all those gems you were earning, spent them on chests, and opened those chests. So open all your chests, because that gets you gear. It also gets you duplicates of gear. Well, when you get a duplicate, that adds item levels. So you just need to keep spending gems on chests and opening chests until you have 2,000 loot levels. They confuse everybody by calling item levels loot levels. And that's the only place in the game that I can think of that they use that term. So, the follow-up from Erebor, I'll hit this real quick. Is the patron requirement 2,000 item levels on one character? No, it's your total. It's your total. Yeah. So it's a total across all your champions. Zelos 1, Warden or Nova from the free time gate. Ooh, that's not an easy decision for me. I think we just talked about Warden, and I talked about how they have a debuff that lingers, and that's super nice. But Nova is a solid tank. The challenge with Nova is you need to put Nova in from the beginning, from like as early as possible, because Nova gets stronger the more boss levels she's been on. That's the main push. She can farm up other stuff on other levels, but really it's all about grabbing the body part off the boss after they're done and collecting that. So Nova's strong the further you can go. So if you're only getting to like level 200 or 300 or 400 in a run, Nova may not be for you right now. And maybe you want to go Warden. Warden will help you right away. But once you start getting Nova up into like 700, 800, 900, like being able to go that far, Nova becomes very strong. She gets stronger the further you go. She currently can't compete with Evelyn below level 1000. But you don't always have Evelyn as a choice, and sometimes you need a strong tank. So, you know, she can give a real high buff. Real high buff as a tank as long as she's in early on. Super War 94. I'm pretty new to this game. Welcome. What are time gates? Do you have a quick rundown? I mean, sort of. I do have a guide for that. I think there's a Gaarawarr's guide to time gates on the Cena YouTube channel. But basically, time gates are this icon up here that looks like an arch. This is our time gates button. Usually every 3 weeks, we get what we call a free time gate. It's a natural time gate weekend. Which where it says free time gate weekend. It opens naturally. Otherwise, usually you have to pay time gate pieces to open. It costs 6 to open. I have way too many, but when you open the free one, this is the delivery, one of the delivery systems for champions, new champions. So when you open a free one, it gives you a choice of just these top 3. These 3 here that say free, you can pick one of these to unlock. It's going to show you like if you have any gear for them already, which if you're new, you're not, you probably aren't. Instead of the gear here, it'll show who's in the slot that they swap with, so you know where they're going. This little number here on the left that says 50 and 75, these are the area goals for the adventures that you're going to have to complete to get their rewards. There's 2 adventures and there's 1 variant. They don't show the variant one because that could be, it's random. So it can be in multiple different things, and it doesn't assign it until you open it. So you pick which one you want to choose. You can only get 1 for the weekend, and then you get to go unlock that champion and get some gear for them. So on this, despite Penelope having legendary gear, I'm probably going to choose Penelope because she got the lowest item levels. It's 154 versus 160 and 180. So if I choose this, when you click on it, it says, hey, do you want to open this? You may only open 1 time gate for free. And then it tells you, first adventure, 50. Second adventure, 75. I'm going to go sure, right? We'll do that in a second, though. Now, any other time, if you try to open a time gate and you spend 6 pieces to open it, you can choose from any champion, any event champion that they've ever released. All the way back to Stokey, year 1, very first event champion, right? This is how you can go back and target unlock specific champions, is through the time gate system, through manual time gates. It's just this free weekend that we have this weekend, and they're doubling it up. We get another one next weekend. You get to just choose one of these. You don't have to spend your time gate pieces, and you get a free champion. One of the things you're going to look at when you're brand new is you want to try to get 2 champions in every bench slot, right? So these are bench slots. Each of these little slots is considered a bench slot, and you want to have one of these little swippy swappy buttons on all the champions. These are all the champions I have available for slot 1, right? When you're brand new, you don't have any options. But you want to make your choices on trying to get at least 1 other option in each slot. Because when you do, that opens up adventuring parties. You can unlock a new party. You'll do an adventure called Split the Party. It gives you another adventuring party, so you can run 2 adventures at once. And it also gives you a time gate, or a Modron core. Time gate core. Modron core, which is a lot of power and extra power you can level up over time, and automation, right? So like if I go in here and I finally pick my Penelope, you get faced with this screen, which basically is like, hey, here's your current equipment. Here's the 2 adventures in the variant you get, and hey, we're going to offer up a free play. These all come at no cost. This is time gates have no cost for these things. Once you open it up, you can also then go to the store and buy Penelope chests with cash if you want to. But basically, complete Area 50. If you don't own the champion, you're going to get rewarded with Penelope and a gold chest for Penelope. 75, another gold chest. And then this variant could be, the goal could be 75, 125, or 175. It's going to give you another gold chest. Free plays don't award you with anything but favor, or if you can complete unique 100 levels, so get to level 100 the first time, level 200 the first time, etc., you'll get a silver chest, which isn't as nice as a gold, but it's better than a kick in the teeth. So yeah, it's a way to get gear and champions. How far are we going to get here? 475. All right, we're getting close. We're getting close. Team's making it happen. Did we ever get a clarification from Elysium Atreides? Or did they leave? I'm not seeing one. All right. Mesa Duval, Alindra, Narak, or Ishi. See my previous answer of saying if you have a lot of the Heroes of the Plains, you might want to go Alindra because she works well with them. Otherwise, probably Narak. Ishi gets some play for people that just want to run Cobalt teams or short folk teams, but she's not super great. She's not super great. Valdemar Night Road. When gaining favor in events, does the conversion multiplier change the higher above the permanent favor you go? No. There's a lot of extra stuff there, and I think we could stop the question at when gaining favor in events, does the conversion multiplier change? No. Your event conversion multiplier is 10% per EO1 favor. It's a flat bonus. So if you get E10 favor, that's a 100% multiplier on your main campaign when you go back to it. You get E20 favor in the event, that's 200% multiplier, and so on and so forth. There's no limit. If you get EO5 favor, that's all you get. You get a 50% multiplier, right? It doesn't change above that. Same with event or time gates. Time gates are only 2.5% per EO1 though. There's less of a benefit from time gates. Same with trials. Trials is only 2.5% per EO1. Events are the big converters at 10% per. The Mole's Revenge. Who's a good slot 2 champion to time gate for if my current slot 2s are Celeste and Whittle? I would go with either Dinar if you want a nice healer option with some crowd control, or I would go Regis if you want a nice debuffer, an occasional heal, to go with Shara Short Folk Bonds. One of those two, Dinar or Regis. Those tend to be my go-tos. But I guess you've got Whittle for Short Folk already, because she's Whittle. So probably Dinar. Friday, are you getting any closer to getting a guide together for Mojang Brit farming? I'm not making one. I'm not making a written guide for that. That's Zeke's thing. Zeke 640, 690. Why can I never remember the numbers after his name? In the Discord is the one that made that resource, and it is their job to put up a written guide, not mine. But I talk about it on my stream. If you go over to Twitch TV/Gaarawarr, usually Tuesdays and Thursdays, we do some Idle Champions stuff. And a lot of times lately, because lately I had finished all the patron stuff, we were doing lots of Briv gem farming and tweaking and stuff. So let's see, Apex Gexilus, I think I ended up getting Rosie. Rip in chat for Apex Gexilus, everybody. Rip in chat. Have you used her? I'm only being half joking here. Have you used her extensively? I have. If so, how well does she do in a party? Not well. Not well. Unfortunately, Rosie is probably one of the 2 champions in the game I would actually label as the worst champions in the game. And it's unfortunate because I love Rosie as a character. Rosie Beestinger, or aka Grandmother Knight, from the C Team, aka the C Team, played by Kate Welch. Fantastic character. Super fun. Just does not deliver damage. Really at all in this game. I think the only time I've ever found Rosie useful was using her deflect missile ability to try to keep my party alive. And she's not a support. She's a DPS, so that was confusing, to say the least. So, yeah. No. Oh, the other one, people want to know what the other one is. Who are the other one of the 2 words? Mehen. Again, painful for me to say, because Mehen is actually my favorite champion in the game. But not because of how well they function. It's because of their overall lore as a character, how they got introduced, how they're designed to work with his daughters. I just love all of that. It just did not work well. It just did not land well. He's okay with his daughters, and he's not good with anyone else. And like, if you're gonna go all in on that, then he's got to be amazing with who he works with. And it didn't come out that way. The Mole's Revenge free time gate options are Xander or Cathris. Cathris. Yeah, Cathris. Xander's an okay support, but just a horrible speed champion. So I don't really go around. I don't know that I recommend Xander for anything. But Cathris, yeah. Cathris is a better support, in my opinion. I have found them more useful over time. Ifina. My free team god options are Ayla and Artemis. What would you guys suggest? Ayla. I mean, Artemis is great. Don't get me wrong. And I guess if you already have Orkira and you want to start doing Orkira stacking, which is a manipulative play to boost her healing, which then boosts her debuff, Artemis is key to that. I will say that. And Artemis is one of like the 2 heavily item and item level dependent characters at major end game with lots of item levels that are kind of really solid DPS. But if you a new player to a mid game player, early to mid game player, Ayla, and then adding Artemis in for that one use case scenario for helping buff Orkira. But Ayla all day, every day. I can use Ayla. She's in my formation. If I have the option to use Ayla to tank, I'm tanking with Ayla. Yeah. Old Grumpy Badger. Benwin Keelik or Sergeant Knox? Huh. Out of those, I'm probably going to say Keelik as the most useful. Yeah. Yeah. Send an answer cowboy with a question that I just saw in chat. Xander to get my last slot without a second character filled, or Black Viper? You would go Xander. You would just get your... That's the only time you would pick Xander, is because it's going to get you access to Split the Party, and Split the Party is that important. It's that important that if your option is to get the last second, to fill your second slot finally, Xander, pick up Rosie, pick up Mehen. You would, yeah, just get Split the Party open and finish it. Yeah. But then you may not ever use Xander. Just know that. But Split the Party is worth it. Not necessarily for the second party. But for the Modron Core is that slot 13 champion that's super OP when you get him in the game. Once you get some gear for him. J-Dog, when they pulled that one champion from the rotation, did all the item levels and equipment transfer over to Xander? Yes. Yes. They just reskinned He Who Shall Not Be Named, and they became Xander. The Mole's Revenge, should I attempt to split the party tune as soon as I've got the champs for each slot? Or will I need to spend a while equipping champs and leveling items first? No, once you can qualify for either split the party or split the party 2, just go do it. You can do it. I've got a guide for that. More importantly, though, there's VODs of me doing it on a very low power account. So, yeah, with core, specifically doing through the final split with core champions. So, you can do it. You can absolutely do it. You just have to know what's going on, understand what's going on, and your strategy on how to get through it, and you can do it. Mine's a somewhat conservative guide. Some people think, I don't know. I think you get it done just fine. I think some people just are impatient, but that's fine. If you want to add more champions on each level to hurry things up, go ahead. Just understand you're gambling a bit with your outcome. Whereas if you do it just like I put it, this is one of the few times I've made a literal walkthrough. If you do it just like I put it, you can beat it. Guaranteed. Because I did it on video. Everybody watched. Yeah. I think that's all the questions we got from chat so far. Let's see, we're at 349, 350. I need to get another 125 more levels here. I just want to see Briggs Ultimate. There we go. That's all I wanted. I just wanted to see it. Just wanted to see it. Oh. So I think so far I did all the new variants, like the basic ones. And I think I did them all for Mert. So there isn't anything... it's not going to show me. I have to switch a party for that. All right. Hey, let's switch parties. I think my Mert's now at 100% again. Yes, Mert is. But now I've got to do things for Vajra, Strahd, and Zariel. But so far, if you're looking at the new variants and you're wondering, well, can I do those with Mert? Yeah. There wasn't anything super difficult in any of them. Basically, they dropped 3 variants for the Sword Coast. Here, let me go over here and it'll actually... Wait, one of these will show them. There we go. 3 variants for the Sword Coast. Down here in the Underdark. None for Tomb of Annihilation because, folks, that's done. This campaign's over. They stuck a pin in it and gave us a big reward. There's no more Adventures or variants coming to Tomb of Annihilation. That doesn't mean there won't potentially be a time where they add more blessings to this campaign, or because they're going to release more patrons. They just are. They are. And then you'll have to go back here and do all of that patron stuff at a higher requirement level, and you may need higher blessings. It just means they're not going to add new adventures or variants here. So we saw a couple dropped, 2 in each of the others. So 2 in Waterdeep, 2 in Baldur's Gate, 2 in Icewind Dale, and 2 in the Wild Beyond the Witchlight. Oh, I already did them here. Oops. Let's go back to the other party. So, yeah, lots of variants to do, and apparently they're dropping more content on us next week. Next week, another content drop, which means another free time gate weekend. Go away. Stop giving me that pop-up. Stop giving me that pop-up. So stay tuned. Who knows? I don't know what is there. There is a skin for Hitch. Yes, I'm trying to get skins back on all these champions that have them because they're fun. I know some people don't necessarily always recognize the champions, but I'd rather you just ask, hey, who's that champion you're using? So I can go, hey, it's so-and-so, and look at this cool skin. But, not everybody's into the skins. Captain Idjit, Paulton, Evelyn, or Eliwick? Leaning towards the first 2 since they're retired. I don't know that that's necessarily how you want to... I don't recommend that as how to make choices for your time gates, just in general. I think your priority should be, who am I going to get the most use out of? Yeah, especially if like one of them is, if they're retired but they're not useful, then who cares? Or if they're about to retire but they're not super useful, they shouldn't be your priority in an event. Like, always prioritize who's going to be useful to you. Evelyn has the unfortunate happenstance of being one of 2 tanks in a slot filled with like amazing DPS and supports. So she doesn't really get a whole lot of use. She doesn't really get. I mean, you got Ashara here, you've got Krull here, you've got Shandy here for speed. You've got Krond for like high-end DPS. You've got Alinder for that Heroes of the Plains synergy. And then you get Evelyn and Sergeant Nox as tanks. You got Rhea. Here's another support. Like, there's so much going on here that Evelyn just doesn't get as much used in general as she used to. That being said, if you don't have Sergeant Nox in that slot, it may be worth picking up Evelyn just so you have a tank option there. Paulton slot 4. I mean, if you don't have anyone other than Jarlaxle, grab Paulton. But like Baloth is best in slot here in terms of buffing with some gold find. Paulton provides buffing with some gold find. It's not as good as Baloth, but it's better than Jarlaxle. So there you go. And then Eliwick is just Eliwick's she's the deck of many things. Sometimes you're going to get a good draw for her, and sometimes you're going to get a bad one. So, if you pull Eliwick, she's useful in a lot of different scenarios, but only if she ends up getting good cards. Otherwise, you have to have a swap for her. So use those things to figure out how you want to decide who to pick, and not necessarily just, well, these 2 are retired, so I'm going to grab those, because I don't think that's the best way to do it. Squirm 651. When should we be buying blessings rather than using the favor to burn through variants? ABBB? Always be buying blessings? I was thinking ABB is always be branding. ABBB? Always be buying blessings? So after every run that you do where you earn favor and you start your next run in that same campaign, you want to go in here and try to buy blessings. Just make sure that the warnings are enabled up here at the top. Make sure that this is that this box is checked. And then buy them blessings. ABBB. Always be buying blessings, baby. Because blessings are power. The problem comes, and the warning is pops up appropriately in terms with, are you still going to have gold find? It works really well. It's one of the few things in this game that was pretty much spot on as an automated warning. So yeah, just make sure the warning is enabled and buy until it pops up, and then close it, and then try the next one, then try the next one. Yeah. The problem that happens about spending too much favor and ruining your gold find unless you're pushing power is when you don't have this on, or you ignore its warning and you spend too much, because these are small increments, like 50% here on this one. This is a small increment of power. It adds up over time, but you don't want to try to get a lot and then lose lots of favor in the process. That's going to hamstring your progress. BBBB, better be buying blessings. That's more of a veiled threat. Better be buying blessings, as opposed to advice. Always be buying blessings. Yeah. So yeah, just buy them. Just buy them. Kralian, who's the moose? That's Tyrell. That's Tyrell in his Icewind Dale form. Texan, does retire mean they can't be used anymore? No. This is why I don't like using the term retire, but the community has already adopted it, and I can't seem to stop them from using it. I wish I had that power. It means they're not available in an event anymore, and they are now time gate champions. That's what I refer to them as. They are moving from events to only being time gate champions. So in an event, you only get the most recent 3. You get the newest champion in the 2 previous years. But we're in event year 5, so there's 2 years worth of champions that won't be in events anymore, that are only in time gates. Some of the community refers to that as retired. I just refer to them as time gate champions. Brer Penguin, is there a reason my gold find team on a chest would not show any gain? Brer Penguin, I'm going to be honest, I don't know what you're asking. Well, on a chest, what does that mean? I don't know what that means. I don't know what you're referring to. So if you can put that context into chat, I can attempt to answer your question. Fernaquina? Cadibri Neris or Celise? Cadibri. I like Cadibri as a solid support. She can also be a DPS. But she always attacks the furthest enemy away, which, doesn't work well with Krull, but can be great in some situations. So I would go Cadibri there. The Mole's Revenge. How do you know what card Eliwick is drawn? It's in her UI. Like when you open up, when you click on a champion and you go into outgoing effects, it's going to tell you under her card what she drew, what she's currently on, and how many stacks she's earned over time. Yeah. It also, I think it changes the art on her character. Her card is slotted in her lyre or whatever she's playing. I think it's stuck there, and I think the color will change. But I just look in the champ UI. A gym-made mimic. Okay, so let me go back. Is there any reason my gold find team on a gym-made mimic would not show any gain? Sure. You didn't go further on that run than you had gone on prior runs. So it's not going to offer you any more gold. Right? Like if you haven't, if the last time you did a run, you got to the same level or higher, and on this one you stopped here, you're not going to see any gain in gold, in overall gold find. Like it's just nothing's, and your overall gold gain, like in your favor, nothing's going to change. Because you have to be using that gold to get yourself further on your next run, and then farm your single enemy or whatever there. That's the only way to then see a new increase, because otherwise it's going to give you the same amount that you got last time, maybe even a little bit more. But because you're into the large number zone, it doesn't really mean a whole lot until you can see orders of magnitude more, which means an extra EO1 or EO2 gain. So it sounds like you didn't make enough progress on this run compared to a previous run to make it improve any, really. Okay, that was these two. Trip 74. Isn't it the case that you don't want to open time gates for the same hero over and over? Sort of. If so, can you explain why and how long you should wait before reopening a character's time gate? So it isn't a function of time so much as it's a function of how many time gates you've opened. So remember those numbers that I showed when I opened it and it said 50 and 75? Those are the goal levels that you have to get the rewards for the base adventures, for the first two adventures, not the variant. Just the first two adventures. Well, every time you do a time gate for a champion, those numbers go up by 50. So I chose Penelope. It was at 5075. When I finish it, if I go look at a Penelope time gate, it's going to say 100 and 125. Every time I keep doing Penelope, it's going to go up by 50. This is why you don't want to do the same champion over and over and over again, because you have to get so much further. It's not always worth it. Now, at some point, you're going to have a lot of power. And sure, you can easily get to like 500, 600. No, if you want to do that many over and over, fine. But kind of the way you want to do it isn't so much a function of time, but number of time gates. And that's that you want every time you don't do that champion, every time you choose somebody else, the number goes down by 25. So that means you need to do 2 other champions before going back to that first one. Because that's 2 times 25 is 50. So if you do a 3 champion rotation on, you pick 3 champions that you need gear for, and you rotate those 3 in order repeatedly, your goal level will stay the same. every time you reach it. It'll always be 50 and 75 because it's always going to go up by 50 and then down by 25 twice. And then you're going to do it again and it'll be back to normal, right? So it really only gets problematic when you're to the point where you've got full epics on all but 1 or 2 champions, and then you can't run a 3 champion rotation because you don't necessarily want to waste your time gate pieces on just getting item levels. Yeah. But early on, you should have plenty of champions that you need to get gear on. So, Treeby72, why do some of your characters have X's through them? I am doing a patron variant, but more importantly, I'm doing a variant. The variant rules, if we go up here, down here it says only champions with dex of 15 or higher can be used. So this variant says I can't use these champions, and that's how it's telling me that. I'm also doing a patron version, and my patron will restrict who I can use. So strength of 10, charisma 13. So there's also going to be a version here with this circle with a line through. Don't do that. That's rude. Circle with a line through it, and then this feather. This is a Zariel symbol. Zariel says I can't use these champions, but the variant says I can't use this one with the big red X. Why? I know I just downloaded you as a program, but that doesn't mean you ping me randomly throughout the day. That's not okay. All right. Gingerly, what should I focus on to boost the heals when Orkira stacking? I have healing feats and Artemis and Narak unlocked. Is there a specific piece of equipment to level it increases it from there? I mean, even if there was, you can't target a specific piece of equipment. So let's talk about other champions you might need. You're going to want Alcoria. Alcoria Stonemare. She's an evergreen from Waterdeep Dragon Heist. Very last, like really all the way through, and there's a variant like on the last adventure, and you unlock Alcoria there. She boosts ability bonuses, like Orkira's healing. And Narak boosts Orkira and Alcoria. So you get to double dip there. And then once you have those, you want to make sure that you have enough DPS champions to surround Artemis with for his observance. And with Alcoria, you want to make sure that those DPS champions are magic-based DPS champions. So magic base attackers, like Farita or Strix or Jim, right? Like these are magic base attackers that are DPS. So that's kind of the thought process that you want to get in to try to maximize how much you can get out of Orkira. Using her feats, yeah, absolutely use the healing feats, and then when you go to switch to back to pushing, you just then swap back to the debuff feats. But after that, it's really the champion you would want to target for raising item levels overall on, because again, you can't target a specific item, would be Artemis. His observance item gets used once, like applies once for every DPS champions he's observing off of. So it's the most efficient way to raise that value. Tyranno 30, where's the white rat familiar from? Never really seen it before. This is Gerard. This is Whittle's pet. So Whittle has where are we at? Whittle has a Lugaroo skin. And that skin pack includes Gerard, the white rat familiar. So he's all the way over here. Bam. The bestest boy from Penelope's Swarm of Rats. So canonically, Penelope summoned a swarm of rats for something, and then Whittle's like, can I figure out which was like the smartest rat? And then she kept it as a pet. So rat number 59, aka Gerard. I'm gonna hit this. I'm gonna jump down to the end here and answer questions that just came in because I need them to ask an actual question that I can answer. Plagy, what is the best champ for a new player to pick up this weekend? I have no idea. You and everyone else are getting a unique set of 3 champions. So you need to tell me which 3 champions you got in your time gate. Then I can try to answer your question. Because until then, I don't know. There's like 90 champions in the game. I didn't realize the difference. Yeah, I know. I get it. I've been doing this a long time. I know you have no idea. That's why I'm like, just get me all three, and then I'll answer your question. Ayla, Ishi, or Esmeralda? Ayla. Ayla, 100% Ayla. She's a fantastic tank that you're going to be using forever and ever and ever and ever. Well, until they change how tanking works. Ubiquitous names. You only get gold from bounty contracts if your party is killing enemies on that stage. No? So should I not open bounty contracts while Zaka farming it? Well, no. You just do it at whatever your furthest level is that you get to. Pop them there, usually. Honestly, the gold is meh. Meh. It's not really that big of a deal. What you want out of bounty contracts is the event tokens, which is why usually you save them up until an event happens, and then you do push as far as you could. Try to push as far as you could go. You pop all your bounty contracts, and you might be able to get an upgrade or two out of it and push a little further, but really you're just trying to get tons and tons and tons of event tokens so you can farm that sweet, sweet event champion gear. That sweet, sweet gear. I did really well on my Whittle. I don't know if people noticed. I did get full epic. I did buy this, obviously, this pack, but didn't have a ton of chests in it. But then along with the stuff that they were giving out with Idle Champions Presents, I ended up with like 3 shinies and lots of item levels. Look at these item levels. So I ended up over average 100, average level, item level of 100. Which for an event champion like that just came out, that doesn't usually happen. Usually I'm dumping blacksmith contracts to get them up to 100. Usually they're in like the 60s or 70s, but yeah, did really well this event. Indust, what's the best way to place familiars when you're offline and don't have that many? Depends on what you're trying to do, I guess, and how many you have. If I only have a couple, and I'm going AFK on a new player account, I put them on the roaming ultimate bar, which is this white box, the long white box above the ultimates. I put them here and I just let them roam around. Because just putting them on, if I was going to put them on a champion, all I'd really put them on is like the tank, if I only had one tank, and the DPS. But then it's not going to do a whole lot. And I'd set it to upgrade. I'd set this to upgrade like this. Excuse me. But usually I just put them on the roaming ultimate bar, and then I come back later and levels things up. If you're going on offline and you don't have a lot of familiars, you're trying to get what you can. So either the roaming familiar bar, or put one on your tank and one on your DPS, and then if you have more, one on, whoever your best support is after that, right? Lethal Rose, my time gate choice is Dadius, Sergeant Knox, or Turiel. Ooh. Interesting, like, off options. I would kind of still go Turiel. Give yourself kind of that anti-tank option in slot 1 if you need it. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know that there's a bad choice there. It's just more that there's not like a clear, amazing choice, right? Varoth, any advice between Birdsong, Keelik, and Celise? So Birdsong is going to be DPS / support, so she can alternate to either. Keelik's going to just be heals, and he does buffing and heals. Celise is going to be your tank support, so it's kind of like, what are you looking for? I'm going to be honest, because Keelik's in this slot, which already has Calliope, who is fantastic at damage prevention, which honestly in a lot of cases is better than healing, and a Briv, who you might have, who's unfortunately the best healer in the game, if you trigger his heals, if he doesn't just die right away. I don't get a lot of use out of Keelik. He will be a go-to if I can't use any of these others, but he's not necessarily my first choice. And Dadius is both a DPS and a support as well, but a little more limited. Oh, no, that Dadius is the next question. So Celise. Celise is a tank and a support. But she's kind of... Celise is like an active play tank, because you really want to be able to switch between her stances. She's all about that stance revolution. Flanagan, who is better to get first, Darius or Lucius? Darius. Lucius not super... Darius at least can be a support. Riff Raff. So Ayla is the best tank right now? In my opinion. Other people's opinions vary, but Ayla is a self-shielding tank. So she provides a shield to herself on a regular basis, based off the number of enemies on the screen that have her mark on them, basically. And it's 10% per enemy, and you can have up to 100 enemies on the screen, so that means it can get up to 1,000% of a shield. Calliope's shield caps at 200% of the tank's health, and that's only if you can get her shield up that high when you're looking at a really high health tank. So Ayla having this ability to shield herself well above her total health number is fantastic. It's better than, say, having Briv, who I was just talking about, is a great healer. He can heal himself technically. You can make it so he heals himself for 100% of the damage he's taken, but it only triggers every 10 seconds or every 10 attacks. And it's not as good as having... That means if he takes a hit for 100% of his health, he's dead. But Ayla, with her self-shield, can take a hit for 100% of her health and just kind of go, "What? Are you going to do something else? I'm still here, bro." So, yeah. I like Ayla better in that regard. I think she just works better. Dota 2 Norax. Familiars on the roam bar provide something when the party's offline. Yeah. I mean, they fire off the familiars. Like more DPS to beat the stages. I mean, it depends on what the ultimates do. But yeah, I mean, they'll fire off the ultimates in offline mode, just like they would in regular play mode. Cthulhu. Something in there. Neris or Celise? Neris is an easier plug-and-play support, so I'm leaning towards recommending Neris, but Celise is, a functional tank. It's just you usually want to be able to rotate the stances, so you have to actively be playing if you want to do that. Riffraff, my time gets a Regis Tim in quarter zone. Tim? Jim? Jim. Was it Jim? I don't. Riffraff. Jim. Okay. I was like, Tim. Did I miss something? I took a week off from this show, and I might have missed something. Regis, Jim, and Corazon. So I'm a big fan of Regis as a debuffer support, because that triggers... I use them to help trigger... One of three to help trigger Ashara's short folk bond. I just prefer that. I know a lot of people go half elves, but I like... Or half seas. I do short folk. Jim is kind of currently in this place where he's like, if you've ever completed a boss level, but there's one invincible enemy left, it's not bugged, it's not invincible. Jim can get rid of that. You could put Jim in and Jim will get rid of it, but there's other ways to get rid of that, so he's not necessarily required. And then there's some high level shenaniganry with super high level Briv and Human item levels with Jim that lets you basically break the game. And Corazon, okay support in my opinion, but the best ultimate, damage dealing ultimate in the game. Just burns alive if done right. If you have the damage, swap in Corazon and basically melt armored and hit based enemies. So I think in this case all three are useful. You just need to decide what are you looking for? What are you looking for? I see someone mentioning Jim. Yesterday on my stream, we had a whole breakout conversation about how we need a Jim skin. As in, going to the workout at the gym skin. and how it needs to be very sweating to the oldies. So short shorts, tank top, holding 2 water bottles, and the branding on the shirt needs to say Green Flame Gym, but GYM, like that's clearly the thing. And then athletic shoes and leg warmers, all in the neon green from the 80s. We need a gym skin. Sandy, make it happen. Make it happen. Hey, we completed a dragon against us. Yeah, very Richard Simmonsy is what we were thinking of. Because he's just Jim's very much a stick figure. So it's not like he's going to the gym to like lift weights. Yeah. He's there to do step aerobics. And maybe attend a spin class. Yeah, we need Jim though. We need Jim. As confusing as it sounds, hey, is my trials back up? It is. Is there a campaign available? Grand Legend. Oh no. What am I on again? Hold on. I might want to join that. Grand Torment. Grand Legend. Yeah, I've beat Grand Legend. I can try Grand Legend again. I'm going to join this. 17.2 assault party damage. 17.12. I want assault party damage too. Obviously I can't. Who's the other? Is it Paulton? Who's the other? Makos? Why do I not remember this? No, Makos is scales. Because the issue I found here, I would almost take all champ damage, 290%. The issue I find is that people can't complete day 1, and if they can't complete day 1, then the assault party bonus is kind of useless. So you just get some real bad restrictions. Assault party 10.18. Yeah, you know what? I'm just going to do this. They're probably going to get mad at me, but they can boot me if they don't like it. All right. Because the worst thing for this level is to have people not be able to finish day 1. That's the absolute worst. So I would rather help people finish day 1 and assure that we get to the end than guess. Erebert. Coming up on my first 70k gems. I'm trying to decide between buying familiars or chests. Look, if you've already saved up that long, buy the familiar. This is easy math for me. If you already put off all of that power for that long, just get the familiar. You're obviously doing okay. Get the familiar, but then buy a lot. But then start buying gems, please, or start buying chests, please. After that, I'm around 15 or so familiars. Wow, that's a lot, and a Modron course. I'm set up pretty okay. Yeah, I mean, if you've got 15, buy chests. But usually, if you've saved up 70k, and there's a 70k familiar, I think, isn't there? I think there's one at 70. Then usually you're like, yeah, just buy the familiar. You've got 15 though, so chests. But yeah, like I think a lot of people try to save up for familiars. And don't get me wrong, I love familiars. They're great quality of life, but early on, 70k gems is a lot of chests. That's a lot of gold chests. That's a lot of power. It's Boo. Yeah, 70k is Boo. So maybe Boo. Grab Boo. Go for the eyes, not the chests. But yeah, I mean that's what you're giving up when you're saving for a familiar, and that's why usually you don't want to necessarily save if your gem income is slow. You don't want to save to get that high because it could take weeks, right? And that's weeks where you're not giving yourself any more pushing power. So yeah, keep that in mind. Alindriel, how do you change familiar skins on Steam? So if you have a skin for a familiar, like I do here, they'll have a swippy swappy button, just like champions do. And you click on it, and it gives you the option to switch between the available skins. So right now, that's the Mage Hand. That's the Baby Snowy Owlbear. You can put the little red nose on it if you got the Red Nose Day skin. That's like Flo. There's a Red Panda one, which is an abomination. There's Griff. This is the Red Panda Griff one is good, though. We can put that on. There's Bubbles, and the Red Panda Bubbles. There's Iris and Pirate Iris, which of course you go with the pirate version. What else do we have skins on? Zuni and Red Panda Zuni. I think that's all the skins we have at the moment. Yeah. Or at least for the familiars that I own, that's the skins. For the familiars that I own, those are the skins. I am missing a lot of familiars. Lord Javex, Ishi or Alindra? Alindra. Alindra is an actual buff support buffer with some good synergies with other heroes of the plains. Ishi's just DPS. She's DPS gold find, but it's only for herself. So she's just DPS. And she's not like a super great DPS. She's a fast attacker, but if you have other fast attackers. But that's not necessarily enough, in my mind, to be like, oh, I want Ishi, which is, unfortunate. I think the character overall is great. I just don't think they deliver. Mystic Zemi, is there a reason to farm time gates free plays? Maybe. If you want more favor for some reason, if you really want that favor conversion, you can do a deep push or two. The other thing is if you're really close to a unique 100 level breakpoint, like say you cleared 100 and already got that chest, but you finished at like 170, and you think if you did like 1 or 2 more free plays, you could clear 200 and get that chest, that silver chest from there, then yeah, go for it. As long as it doesn't take a lot of time. Time gates are usually about get in, grab what you can and get out. It's a smash and grab. Time gates are a smash and grab, folks. Smash it open, grab everything you can real quick, and then get out before the cops come. Shanquel, is the third Modron core worth the 500,000 gems? I don't think so in general. Really, the third Modron core is useful if you're going to go all in on melee DPS. So if Artemis or Krond or Torrigar are your jam, and that's just all you want to run is DPS every chance you can get, the strong core is a melee buffing core. But if that's not what you're doing, if you're doing more of the general meta with Ashara or Zorbu, or you're throwing it, or usually some off meta choices like Hitch or Farita, or things like that, then the modest core is just fine, and you got that one for free. And the speed core itself is a decent buffing core. Once you get them both to 15 and full epic, they're not super far off in power. It's just there's a little more power to be had in the modest, and a lot more speed to be had in the speed. But yeah, the melee is really just, or the strong core is really for melee DPS champions. It's not really worth it if you're just going to get, if you just want automation. Automation isn't worth it. You're not going to get those 500,000 gems back. So you don't want to make that purchase until you can easily accrue 500,000 gems in a week or two without thinking about it. Yeah. The Lurking Rider, left spec or right spec for Dragon Bait, and situations where one might be preferable over the other. So on this one, I'm going to refer you to my guide on the subreddit for Dragon Bait. And I say that because generally I'm running right spec, but the left spec is based entirely on your formation layout. So you really have to look at the bonuses that you're getting based off the distance away from you certain champions are, and do the math on what it would be if you switched to the left spec. Would it make those bonuses bigger? Would you get more of a bonus out of that than the one you're getting off the right spec? Yeah, it's a very mathy one, and having my guide as a reference so you can see it without having to, and just do the math ahead of time, helpful. Stigler 1, do familiar skins count to the skin bonus from Oral? Oh, that's a good question, Stigler. You're going to need to ask that to the devs, though. I do not know. Here's the link to my guides for anyone that want to know. Yeah, I don't know the answer to that one. Here's the problem. To find out the answer to that, I'd have to count all my champion skins. Martin's telling me the devs are saying no, they don't. So there you go. We got the answer. Thank you to whatever dev was watching the stream. Answered the question. So no, just champion skins. Just champion skins. Roy G. Biv. I see what you did there. Why are there so many red panda skins for champions and familiars? Is it a D&D lore thing I'm missing? Kind of. The original... So right now there's Idle Champions Presents, the Trials of Mount Tiamat, and there's all these Ascendant skins that have been added to the game, right? The first Idle Champions Presents had a situation where everyone was dressed up as red pandas. And there were all these red pandas wearing top hats on unicycles carrying sausages. So they made a whole bunch of red panda skins. So yeah, I mean, if you want to go back and watch the original Idle Champions Presents, I think it called A Fool's Errand? You will then understand. That's good entertainment. You will then understand why there are so many red panda skins in the game. Moloch 07, I can clear level 900 at a time gate. Is it worth it when my champion is Rosie? I mean, I feel like you answered your own question. I mean, if it's easy, like I said, I tend to run to like 700 or 800 in a time gate because it doesn't take much time or effort. Again, it comes down to time or effort. Is that time and or effort better spent farming gems to get me blacksmithing contracts instead of a single silver chest? I think so. But you have to make that decision for yourself, right? Mystic Zemi, for time gate free plays, you mentioned levels 100, 200, etc. Is that extra hero chests every 100? That's one silver chest for that champion for every unique 100 levels. So if you on your first run you pass 100, boom, you get a silver chest just straight into your inventory. Second run you get past 200 and get close to 300, you've got a second chest in there. But you don't get one for going past 100 again because you already did that once, right? And then maybe after the variant, you decide I'm going to hop into free play and because I think I can clear 300, and you grab 300 and you get clear 300, you get that third chest. But once you get it, you can just bail unless you think you can get to 400, but you don't necessarily want to put a lot of time in it, right? It's all about knowing how far you can push with your formations and grabbing what's super easy. But that is specifically a time gate thing. Time gates are different than events. Some people would like you to tell you that they're the same thing, and they're not, because they deliver the champion and the gear in different ways. In events, you're just farming free plays to 50, but in time gates, you need to actually push. You need to prove your worth and actually show that you should get those extra chests. Sail Niche, should I get Farita, Narak, or Sentry if I only have Sentry with mostly blues? Narak's going to be, again, a somewhat useful support in very specific situations like Orkira stacking or gold farming, like Azaka farming. He can boost that. He can boost abilities in some other situations if you need him. So he is a support that's available, whereas Farita's just a DPS. I shouldn't say just. I think she's a decent DPS. I use her often, but she's not top of the tier. She's in that nice functional mid group. So you just kind of have to figure out what you want. Yeah, I would work on getting more champions than over getting Sentry into better gear. OPIV, new time gate champion, open silver champion chests or electrums first. My rule of thumb is usually to open electrums, then silvers, then golds for event champions, event and time gate champions. Because the thinking there is electrums are going to give you somewhat prioritize the empty slots on that new champion you just unlocked. Whereas you already know your named silver and gold are gonna go to that champion. So take advantage of that free priority to grab what you can, get you some of that gear so that you're getting more guaranteed upgrades when you open the others. That's why I do it in that order. I find it also ends up, depending on how many you're opening, it can give you more item levels. Just out of a time gate, it's not that big of a deal. You don't have enough chests to really make it super matter. But I would still, if you want to, open up Electrums first. If you have some. We've been getting a lot. I save all my, personally, I save all my Electrums until the event happens. Already up to 60. I've already got over 100 gold chests. Coming up on 2,000 gold chests since the last event started. 2,000 silver chests, excuse me. 2,000 gold. I wish I had 2,000 gold chests. That'd be a lot. How are we doing? Are we almost done with it? Yeah, getting close. Just got it. Technically, I push these. I forgot to throw. Normally, what I do is throw like an hour of potions on. I'm only going to do like 15 minutes this time, though. Let's just do these at 15 minutes, and we'll get some push out of this. Yeah, doesn't matter. Grab what I can, when I can. Because I can easily get past 50, but I want to grab some favor. Because right now I only have 70 favor. Well, I want to be able to push. If we remember, my third time gate option, the variant was 175. I need to be able to clear 175 at least if I don't care about grabbing more silver chests. But I will most likely end up pushing on the next run. I'll push to 700, 800, or whatever. Grab as many chests as I can get. And then for the variant, I'll just go to the completion stage and then bail. And then bail. Let's see. In dungeon, I'm really thankful for all your knowledge that you're sharing with us. Thanks so much. Learned so much from hanging around here. Glad to help. That's the point. Here, make sure, hang out on streams like mine and Mars's and Lauren's on Mondays, where, the whole point is to answer questions for you about how to play the game. Also hit up the Discord. There's the new player channel with lots of questions. It's a resources channel with lots of guides and just posted tips. And of course the combinations channel with all that free swag. And then the subreddit. There's a wiki on the subreddit that's full of guides from all kinds of different people. I do have my own page there. You can find over 100 guides just from me, covering every champion in the game, as well as all of the major systems in the game. So if you need things explained, it is there. CNA Games that has a YouTube channel, and they archive all of these streams. They also archive my Saturday streams. On Saturdays, there's a tutorial show. We're having one tomorrow, and I just blanked on the topic. Hold on. Is it? Yes. Tomorrow's tutorial show is Gaarawarr's Guide to Blessings and Divine Favor Revisited. Yes, folks, we have done this before. We did it a really long time ago. But they've added a new campaign, which means there's new blessings. They've added more tiers of blessings. So we get to talk about more of a modern look at that to help people who are new players in the game, whereas the old one is, a little bit out of date. So if you have questions about blessings and divine favor, how that whole system works, that's kind of like the core gameplay loop of Idle Champions is blessings and divine favor. So learn how to maximize that tomorrow with me. But all of those tutorials are up on the CNA Games YouTube, just under Gaarawarr's Guides. And then the GG2E show has its own playlist as well. Yep. Kraylene, I keep running out of speed potions. Can they be farmed somehow? Buy more chests. Buy chests, open them. It sounds simple. It sounds like a little too easy. There must be a trick there, but that's it. That's all of these potions you see here. You'll note I'm the lowest of all of my values. These are close to 1,000, 2,000. It's the speed potions, because those are the ones that I'm using all the time. Gotta go fast. Gotta go faster. So yeah, it's just, you gotta earn a lot of gems, and then you gotta turn those gems into a lot of chests, and then you gotta open all those chests. So I'm sitting at a little over 300,000 gems. When we come around to the next event, I will turn this into gold chests, and I will open up all those gold chests and refresh my potion vault And I don't buy silvers because if you'll notice, I mean, I already have 1,800 silvers. I get plenty of silvers just playing the game. Just playing the game. I want to buy those gold chests. I want all those contracts. I want all those epic potions. I want them all. Haha, hi, ho, haha. Is there a point to not use Human for this time gate run? No, it's just he's not in my... Clearly, the last time I did a Penelope time gate, Human wasn't in the game, so he wasn't in my speed formation. But there. Now he is. Let me update it. Boom. Yeah. No, there's no reason at all. It's just you gotta, like, I save these formations when I do things the first time. And then if they add new champions to the game, sometimes I just forget because it doesn't really matter. Should add Whittle as well. I mean, sure. We're already at level 200. Do I need to? Who's coming out, though? Freely? Freely. Yeah, it'd have to be... Oh, no, Dinar. I've got Dinar in here. Okay, yeah, Dinar can come out. Freely can stay in. There. There's Whittle in her Lugaroo skin. Or Lugiru, as they pronounced it on... as Gaarawarr pronounces it. That was hilarious. If you didn't watch Champions of Lore this week, you should go back and catch the VOD. Gaarawarr's recaps are... They're worth it. They're worth your time, folks. They're worth your time. There, that's better for some people, probably. I'm a little annoyed that I've got Tyrell up here as a moose. Hold on. See, let's just change some things. Oh, no, he can stay in moose form. I'm just going to save. Well, no. Let's change him out. I'd rather have him in Moonbeam. There. That makes me happier. That makes me happier. Well, technically this should make me happier. See, I'm changing. See, now that you've got me messing with my formations. Normally I don't bother. I just let them run. And then I change it when I hit a wall. But there we go. There we go. I see this one got answered in chat, but I'm going to answer it anyway for those who aren't reading the chat later on the VOD. Yogasek, is there a way to buy gold chests easier than 1x1? Oh yeah. Welcome to the best day of your life. Gem items instead of chests. Click on the gold chests. And nothing happens. Click on them again. And there's a slider. There's a slider. You can scroll it with your mouse wheel to get as precise numbers, or you can just drag and drop. Yeah, buy them here. Don't buy them over here. Buy them here. Buy them here. Q and Mischief. Wolfgar or Paulton? I mean, like, just, I mean, Paulton's going to be more useful than Wolfgar. Paulton as a support that can be generically placed in any formation, better than Wolfgar, who can only really tank. That's it. That's it. Wow, 1x1 is a punishment. Look, back in my day, all we could do was buy chests 1 by 1 by 1 by 1 by... Where was I? By 1 by 1 by 1. So yeah, when they added the gem store and they finally gave us bulk purchasing. Ooh, but that wasn't until what? Year 3? Maybe year 4? At least year 3. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know how we got Lee Majors references in chat, but sure. Sure. Jesus, I'm so glad I didn't play for most of year 2 or 3. I mean, I've played the whole time. It's fine. It was you could play. Clearly we did. It's just the game is more enjoyable now than it has ever been. Don't let people that are just always hating on things tell you otherwise. The game is far more enjoyable now than it ever was in the past. It is so much easier to start an account and level up and get gear and item levels and power and champions, right? Like year one, there was one champion in an event, not three, right? There weren't even time gates back then, folks. There weren't patrons or patron perks. There weren't Modron cores. So there's so much more in the game that makes things so much nicer to play now. Gives you so much power faster. It's literally surprising. I mean, when I went back on my most recent new player account run and played through unlocking all the evergreens, I thought when I got to Okoria, I thought I was going to try it and I was going to just get my handed to me. I thought I was just going to get spanked. And we wrecked it. And then I was like, what? All right. And then I moved through to do Rhea in Avernus. And I'm like, ooh, I don't think we're going to be able to do this, folks. And then we just smoked it. Same thing with Elturel's Last Stand. Like, I was shocked at how much power you get and how quickly you accrue it. And how functional you can be as a new player now compared to, you know, what it was when we first started out. So, yeah. It's so much nicer now. So much nicer now. How's this? Did this fill up? Oh, we got a couple more people. Someone threw in a scales bonus. They're being real optimistic. They're being real optimistic. Did you not take impressive cloakwork for whom on here? Is your double quest rewards so high it doesn't make sense? Yeah, I don't know that it matters. It's at like 700%. I mean, it's fine. I should probably put that out there. Now it's 1400%. Sure, it's good. I mean, it's like what? 700 means I'm getting 8 credit, which is like what, a 3 kill clear, roughly? No, just over. It's a 2 kill clear because I have Sentry. Yeah. So I don't think it changed. I don't think doing this changed much. It's still like a 2 kill clear. So yeah, it's a combination of having a high Human and having also Sentry in the party. Makes it easier. Onyx Squared, Rhea whooped my butt. I'm trying to build up more purples in favor to try to go get her. So definitely, if you, I don't know how you built your formation. If you put tanks in the front line expecting to tank things, don't. One of the few times I'm going to tell you not to really put in tanks. I did find that Dragonbait worked really well, but I think he may have been the only tank. Maybe Ayla. I can't remember if I had Ayla or not. Ayla works, but she doesn't have to tank to provide her bonuses, and that's the thing is you want just a lot of support champions, and if there's a tank in there, it needs to be a tank whose bonuses don't come from actually tanking things. Because in Rhea's unlock variant, if once you get above, like, what is it, 600, the second an enemy touches your tank line, they disable the tank and they're just useless anyway. They're not giving you anything. So you have to nuke stuff when it first comes on the screen, which means you need straight up damage. And straight up damage usually just comes from support classes and not tank classes. Well, they're stunned. They're not. Well, no. It turns off their bonuses. It turns off their bonuses, Simon. They don't offer you anything. They exist in that front line, but they're not helping your team out any. So just having straight up support champions is going to be way more useful for you. I'm using your Rhea video for reference, which got me close to 550. Still working. All right. Yeah. Ooh. Is it the most recent Rhea video? I hope it's the most recent Rhea video. The one on my channel. Get it on my YouTube channel. youtube.com/Gaarawarr. Make sure you're watching that one, or the one that I have linked in my new player reference. That should have the updated link. Don't watch the Gaarawarr's Guide to Rare Reborn that's on the CNE Games YouTube. Sorry. That was when it first came out, and I overpowered it with tanks, and don't do that. Make it easier on yourself. Yeah, watch. Go hit up my new player guide here. Find the new player reference on the wiki page and use that. That's going to have the one that I did most recently on my new player account that did not have a lot of power. I think I had like a level 3 or 4 modest core, and I beat Rhea Reborn, which I would not have thought was going to be a thing that I would have said, but we did it. Last question. Honda Hero, when you say high human, is it their item level or their rainbow eggs? Yes. Specifically, it's the rainbow eggs item level. But specifically, it's the power. Item levels are power. My item level is 1562, but it's shiny. And that puts me at right around 3,000 ability bonus. And that's what gets me to the multiplier over here. That in this formation is 719. Could I change? No, that's pretty good. We got a lot of people surrounding them, which then affects carefully balanced, right? So I'm getting bonuses, and yeah, that works. I'll do this one, and then we got to bounce. Where do you see the name of your Modron Corp? You don't. They decided not to put names in. When you first unlock them, it shows their names, and then after that, you never do. This plain looking one is your modest core. This armored one is your strong core, and this one with the fluffy eyebrows, that's your fast core. That's it. You just have to know. If you know, you know, and we're out. Join me tomorrow, 9 a.m. Pacifically, CNE Standard Time, for Gaarawarr's Guide to Blessings and Divine Favor Revisited. That's it. We're going out the way we came in. The new Frost Giant song from Bardic Inspiration. Lords of the Ice. Lords of the Ice. Bye, everybody.
Stories told, stomping through the snow everywhere we go. Rivers of the storm, we will not conform. The winds they call us forth in the frozen north. Hear our horns begin to blow, descending through the snow, as we leave nothing left but bones for crows. Heralds of the squall, watch your heroes fall. You will know our power, one and all. We're the lords of the ice, never to be crossed. Children of thrill, fate of the lost, giants of frost. Marching through the street, our boots will crush the meat, grind you into meat underneath our feet. Shivering our wake, and the ground begins to shake. The breaking of your hope will seal your fate. We're the lords of the ice, never to be crossed. Children of thrill, fate of the lost, giants of frost will make us say